call, hang up now. To block this call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
Hello there.
Hey, I got something here that might help some people out. So if they listen to this video, maybe they can ask their attorneys about this. It's called Title 28, Judiciary and Judicial Procedure, Part, that's 4 or 5, it's hard to read here. Particular Proceedings, Chapter 153, Habeus Corpus. And it's called 2555, Federal Custody, Remedies on Motion Attacking Sentence. And what it is, it says a prisoner in custody under sentence of a court established by Act of Congress claiming the right to be released upon the ground that the sentence was imposed in violation of the Constitution or laws of the United States, or that the court was without jurisdiction to impose such sentence, or that the sentence was in excess of the maximum authorized by law, or is otherwise subject to collateral attack, may move the court which imposed the sentence to vacate, set aside, or correct the sentence. And Part B says, unless the motion and the files and records of the case conclusively show that the prisoner is entitled to no relief, the court shall cause notice thereof to be served upon the United States Attorney, grant a prompt hearing thereon, determine the issues, and make findings of fact and conclusions of law with respect thereto. If the court finds that the judgment was rendered without jurisdiction, or that the sentence imposed was not authorized by law, or otherwise open to collateral attack, or that there has been such a denial or infringement of the constitutional rights of the prisoner as to render the judgment vulnerable to collateral attack, the court shall vacate and set the judgment aside and shall discharge the prisoner, or resentence him, or grant a new trial, or correct the sentence as may appear appropriate. Part C says a court may entertain and determine such motion without requiring the production of the prisoner at the hearing. Part D says an appeal may be taken to the Court of Appeals from the order entered on the motion as from a final judgment on application for a writ of habeas corpus. Part E, an application for a writ of habeas corpus in behalf of a prisoner who is authorized to apply for relief by motion pursuant to this section shall not be entertained if it appears that the applicant has failed to apply for relief by motion to the court which sentenced him, but that such court has denied him relief unless it also appears that the remedy by motion is inadequate or ineffective to test the legality of his detention. Part F says 1 year prior, or a 1 year period of limitation shall apply to a motion. Under this section, the limitation period shall run from the latest of the date on which the judgment of conviction becomes final, the date on which the impediment to making a motion created by governmental action in violation of the constitutional laws of the United States is removed, if the movement was prevented from making a motion by such governmental action. Part 3, the date on which the right asserted was initially recognized by the Supreme Court, if that right has been newly recognized by the Supreme Court and made retroactively applicable to cases on collateral review, or, number 4, the date on which the facts supporting the claim or claims presented could have been discovered to the exercise of due diligence. Part G, except as provided in Section 408 of the Controlled Substances Act, and all proceedings brought under this section, and any subsequent proceedings on review, the court may appoint counsel, except as provided by a rule promulgated by the Supreme Court pursuant to statutory authority. Appointment of counsel under this section shall be governed by Section 3006A of Title 18. It says in H, a second or a successful motion must be certified as provided in Section 2244 by a panel of the appropriate Court of Appeals to contain. Number 1 is newly discovered evidence that, if proven and viewed in the light of the evidence as a whole, would be sufficient to establish by clear and convincing evidence that no reasonable fact finder would have found the movement guilty of the offense, or, number 2, a new rule of constitutional law made retroactive to cases on collateral review by the Supreme Court that was previously unavailable. And that's how it's stated. So I don't know if people want to research that, it's basically said, I mean, I don't know how that all works, but it's basically saying if there's new evidence, if discovery wasn't gone over that could have proved your innocence, you had ineffective counsel, your speedy trial right was violated, your other constitutional rights were violated, or if the court didn't have jurisdiction, which I would argue the federal government didn't have jurisdiction, especially in the Bundy Ranch case, because the sheriff told the BLM to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I like that.
So I don't know if that'll help some people out there in our case, but I'm sure Ryan Payne would be really interested in that, because he's a very smart man. I think he would enjoy going over that, because I think that could help him in the Oregon case.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us were railroaded through the into the plea agreement, and none of the discovery was going over in a lot of cases, especially the one down here in Nevada. I never even saw one page of the Nevada discovery. So anyway, I wanted to get that out. If they because this seems like what you can do is you file a motion. Say some of these people, they can't get out of their pleas. You know, the judge isn't allowing them.
Mm-hmm.
And they get stuck with that sentence. They can file this, and they can overturn the conviction.
Cool.
So it might take a while, but they might want to research this with their attorneys, because I think this could help people who were not allowed out of their plea after they filed an appeal.
Hey, I have a little bit of good news. It says Trump signs an executive order on improving accountability and whistleblower protection.
Well, praise God for that.
Yeah, I've been praying and asking for prayers that something like this would happen.
Is that going to protect people like Eric Snowden? Because doesn't he want to execute him still?
The bad news is that now he seems to be going after Julian Assange.
Now, who is that?
Julian Assange is the founder of WikiLeaks.
Oh, brother.
Yeah,
well, that's not good.
If it wasn't for him with his WikiLeaks during the campaign, Trump may not have been president right now.
Yeah, that's not good. We need things to be exposed. But that's what's funny, because a lot of people think, they were calling Edward Snowden a traitor, and I said, hey, that man's a hero. Don't you? Is the American people that dumb that they don't care that they're being spied on by their government? I mean, that's some weird, crazy stuff. I don't, and you know what people will say, well, I got nothing to hide. It doesn't matter if you don't. They'll find something. That's the point. That's why Eric Snowden said they can go back in time through your emails or whatever and make anybody a wrongdoer anytime they want.
Yeah.
So it's because it's all in the way you define the law. So you could be straight as an arrow. They will find a way to wreck your life. They really will. And they do it to people all the time. I got my brother Pete Santelli. Look at him. He's just a media guy, and they destroyed his life. So, I would like to clarify for the record too, our last conversation, that I personally, Pete is not a federal agent. That's dumb. I don't know why people say that.
Yeah.
Pete Santelli is a good man. He's my brother. I love him. He's a hero. He's a hero for media, because he took a stand that most people in media wouldn't take, and he paid for it. And it took a lot of courage what he did, and what all of us did. So
I agree, and I've supported Pete from the beginning.
They're against me, because I'm going to stand with Pete.
Yeah, me too. Hey, what do you think that Stewart Rhodes' claim to fame is? Because I really cannot find one.
I don't know, and I don't know. My experience with Stewart Rhodes has been brief. I do find it odd he didn't make it on the indictment, because he had a lot of influence out there at the ranch. And, with the oath keepers and stuff. But then again, I'm not going to throw him under the bus either. I think we all played a part in this as Americans. Some were bigger than others, and some of us are martyrs now. Do I think Stewart Rhodes is a patriot? I don't know. I guess we're all patriots. Some are patriots to different degrees. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, we took it to the extreme without having to hurt anybody. We took it to the extreme far as we took a hard stand, but we advocated peace. We never advocated war. We never advocated, you know what I mean? Although a lot of people would think our stance was, what's the word I'm looking for, was too much or took it too far. But I would say to them, what other action did we have? If your voice is so blatantly ignored by your government after you tried every legal avenue, and your Constitution and your rights are so blatantly ignored that they just don't care, you know, they kind of engineer their own defeat, do they not?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, my mom was telling me today, me and my mom, Terry Cooper, and I love my mom. My mom was a police officer for 30 years. She was an awesome woman, and she's a good mother, and she's a good cop. But she doesn't support the Bundys, and me and her butt heads on that all the time because she just cannot understand that what they did to these people was so blatantly wrong that I lack a vocabulary to just, I can't even express it in words because it was just like, I cannot believe this happened to them. And that they were being abused that day at Bunkerville. And my mom says, well, you know, you can't interfere with law enforcement following orders. And so the example I gave her, well, the Nazis followed orders. Mm-hmm. So if they're just going to round people up and throw them in gas chambers, are you saying that we allow them to do that because it's the law?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it better for good men to stand up and say, enough's enough?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, she hung up on me today, but I was, you know, I told her, I said, look, I said, try to imagine that this court order was fraudulently brought down to get his cattle. I mean, I talked to Cindy Lundenberg once from Fox 5 because I was debating on whether or not I should do an interview with him, and then my lawyer advised me that I should not do the interview until the cases are over. But she brought up how he didn't pay his cattle grazing fees, and I said, that's not true. And she goes, well, what do you mean? I said, they tried to give the federal government the money, and they wouldn't take the money.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, really? I said, absolutely. They paid the coffers. I think they have the money in the coffers, but the federal government wouldn't take it. But Clive's argument is, under the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, and more importantly, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, you know, where it says the federal government can't even own the land, that the money needs to go to the state, not the federal government. You know, the federal government's not supposed to control 85% of Nevada per the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
But why would we listen to that? So...
yeah, they're still screwing around with Mrs. Finicum, too. Lavoie's wife.
What about they're screwing with Jeanette?
Yep.
What are they doing to her?
Oh, they're just, they're trying everything they can to get her to sell her ranch.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose we made this stand, is there. And this is what happens. Ranchers are being forced to sell and bullied and pushed off their land. The fees, a lot of the fees are engineered so people can't pay them, so they have to push off. And they're forced to sell to the federal government. It's done by design. It's tyranny. That's what tyranny is. When it's destructive of the ends of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness under the Declaration of Independence, it says that when anything becomes destructive of those ends, it is the right of the people and duty to stand up and throw off or abolish such government.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay,
go ahead.
Going back to Stewart Rhodes here, somebody online said that they thought you said that he should be shot in the back for leaving the Bundy Ranch.
I never said that.
No. And also...
Now, we did... Now, when I was in Arizona, everybody had a meeting to tell him to leave the Bundy because he deserted, you know, when the drone strikes or whatever. He was kind of being a provocateur there, and I don't know if he really thought that or if he did that to try to get the thing to get broken up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and he said that he...
But maybe Stewart Rhodes was really concerned about people's safety. I doubt the federal government would drone strike something that big. It just would not. But you never know. They might. I wouldn't put it past them, especially under the Obama administration. He liked to drone strike people. But
a government official told me that they were going to send in drone strikes.
yeah, and that's what. But what government official? See, people need to realize the structure of military. Only 5 people in the United States would know about a drone strike. If something like that were going to happen, only 5 people. One of them would be the president, the commanding officers, and the people carrying out the drone strike.
Yeah.
So I don't know how Stewart Rhodes would get that information. Now, could that information have come from a government official who wanted to use it as a way to divide people up and get them out of the ranch? Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't put that. That's how the FBI works. They don't want people uniting. They want to keep them divided. And because when you're divided, you're easier to control. When you're on your grid, you're easier to round up. When you don't have a group of people to lean on to help you, they can just throw you away. Nobody knows. You disappear in the system. They can do whatever they want to you.
Yeah, and the Oath Keepers also claim that they funded everything at the Bundy Ranch.
They might have. I don't know. I don't have that information, so I couldn't make a statement.
No,
on that.
I don't know either.
Now, Stewart Rhodes. I notice Stewart Rhodes likes to come out when things get big. So, like, do you remember Sugar Pine Mine operation? I played a huge part in setting that off. Joseph Rice was in charge of that. Joseph Rice is a good man with the Josephine County Oath Keepers. This would be Jay Soper and all them. And what they like, the BLM likes to do, is they believe they own surface rights. And it was 1945 or 1955 they were grandfathered into these surface rights. Well, these miners like to build cabins on their mining claims. But what they'll do is they'll come over when the miners leave and burn their cabins to the ground without due process. They just do it just to be jerks. And so that's what they were worried about happened at Sugar Pine Mine. And Joseph Rice, I saw a post from him, and I said, hey, do you want me to help get some light on this? And he says, absolutely. And I posted it, and it kind of kicked it off in the media. And he was kind of mad at me about that, but I told him, I said, that's part of the battle. I said, if you don't have the media on this, you've already lost. And because we have to make a lot of noise because we need people in high positions of authority who have the ability to abolish laws or to hold government officials accountable like that. So we don't have to show up and do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But since there's no accountability in the federal government at all, what were we supposed to do? But anyway, so when we went out and locked down Sugar Pine Mine, I noticed once the media started getting really big, he wanted to come down there and put on a little show. So I do think he likes to soak it up. Do I think Stewart Rhodes is a good man? Yeah. Do I think he's a patriot? Yeah. But do I think that he's as radical and extreme as we were? Not at all. And he said that, and I've had conversations with Stewart Rhodes where he told me Ryan Payne was not a patriot. And I said, well, Ryan Payne's a patriot. So he told me that to my face. And
they think that what you guys did set back the Patriots, set back the Oath Keepers.
Set back the Oath Keepers. Well, the Oath Keepers kind of, what they did at the Bundy Ranch, a lot of people didn't like, and I'd say they've been setting themselves back because they refuse to take the stand they need to. So if Stewart Rhodes and the Oath Keepers really believe in the Constitution and really believe in this movement, then maybe they should step up their game a little bit. The court systems are corrupt. They're not going to work. Either you're going to have to make that stand and tell the courts that, so the courts have to change is what has to happen. And the laws need to be changed. But and this is a problem because when you do get due process, when they're trying to come after your mining claim or your ranch, the bureaucracy is, the red tape
1 minute remaining.
It's so crazy that nobody, unless you had millions of dollars at your disposal and more, can get a just ruling through the court system. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
So.
Hey, Blaine, we're running out of time. I'm totally in agreement with you. About people are going to need to take a harder stand, and I'm disappointed in Stewart Rhodes with Oath Keeper too for what.
But Stewart Rhodes is a patriot.
But
step up and be one.
But real quick, if I get a number that's closer to Las Vegas, like a Google Voice number, will that cheapen the expense of this call? You think?
I I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm working on it, but keep the same number. But I'm working on getting an area code that's closer to Las Vegas.
Yeah, just let me know. I love you guys. Hopefully this habeas corpus can help some people out.
Amen.
But yeah, as patriots, I don't think we're set back. I think we need to step up.
Amen.
Period.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on that.
So we might be a little extreme and radical, but by God,
Someone's got to be.
Someone's got to be. I think that's what he was going to say. Take care. God bless.